Let's recall that aerobic cellular respiration is cellular respiration that occurs with air. Aerobic cellular respiration starts with the glycolysis and then goes on to the formation of acetyl coenzyme A and is followed by the Krebs cycle and eventually leads to the electron transport chain. So the question is, what happens in anaerobic cellular respiration, or cellular respiration without air? Well, one of two things can occur. Either a different molecule can be used as the final electron acceptor in the electron transport chain, or a process called fermentation can occur. Now, fermentation is not only the process by which one's beer is produced, but it's also an important process that some organisms perform in order to get some energy. In general, the way in which fermentation will produce ATP is by performing glycolysis as well as one additional step. There are two types of fermentation that I'm going to be talking about today, and those are lactic acid fermentation and alcoholic fermentation. For people like you and me, lactic acid fermentation generally occurs when we're in a state of high activity. So what will happen is that oxygen will not be shuttled quickly enough and we'll be out of breath. But in order to keep moving, we'll turn to anaerobic cellular respiration. In lactic acid fermentation, just like in aerobic cellular respiration, glycolysis will occur producing a net of 2 ATP, 2 pyruvate, as well as 2 NADH plus hydrogen ion molecules. However, unlike anaerobic cellular respiration, NADH plus hydrogen ion will reduce pyruvate, which will produce lactic acid and NAD+. The production of lactic acid allows NAD+ to re-enter the cycle of glycolysis, but it's also the reason why your muscles hurt when you're working out. Now I'm going to talk about alcoholic fermentation. Yes, this process has given rise to many amazing pictures on the internet, but it's also a very important process for some organisms. Alcoholic fermentation is very similar to lactic acid fermentation in that it uses the pyruvate from glycolysis and NADH plus hydrogen ion to perform its next step. What's different is that in alcoholic fermentation, first pyruvate will be converted into acetaldehyde, a 2-carbon molecule, where the third carbon will be released as CO2, and the acetaldehyde will then be reduced to ethanol, converting NADH plus hydrogen ion back to NAD+. This ethanol, or ethyl alcohol, will then lead to amazing results such as this. What's important to remember is that both types of fermentation will produce a lot less energy than aerobic cellular respiration. Where aerobic cellular respiration will produce 36 ATP, both types of fermentation only produce 2 ATP.
My friend said you gotta ride the lightning, move on up, make it frightening. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.